Hey, how's it going? I'm Nick Gaska and welcome back to I Can Do That DIY for another doll repaint video. Today I'm going to be customizing Honey, the doll that I designed and created myself. This will be the third Honey that I'm going to customize. If you haven't watched the video for my first or second Honey, go check it out. Today I'm working on one of my favorite subjects, clowns. I love clowns, they're so spooky and weird and kind of cute. And of course we're adding to the group of primary colors and finishing up with yellow. There may be more monochromatic looks in the future, so keep an eye out. Alright, let's get into it. We're actually going to start with the sewing portion of our program this time. Here's the sketch for our outfit today. As usual, it did change from the original sketch, but I'm very happy with how it turned out in the end. The base garment will be an 8-panel corset with separated bishop sleeves, which will also be paneled. We'll be mixing patterns and colors today. We're using a solid yellow, a yellow polka dot, a yellow floral, white, and a striped yellow organza. Here are all the pattern pieces for the corset and the sleeve. I went ahead and prepped those off screen, and also went ahead and cut out all this fabric. As you can see, there's lots of different pieces. So let's go ahead and start sewing. I'm going to start out by sewing the center front seam with the 2 front panels. After that, I'll press the seam and then attach the 2 side panels to the princess seams. After I sew both seams, I'll press them and then move on to the back. I'll be attaching the center back panel to the side back panel, and then do the same thing on the other side. After that, we'll attach the 2 backs to the front and both side seams. Alright, cool. Off screen, I went ahead and sewed the lining. I'm just going to attach the lining to the shell at the top and then the bottom. We're going to start by sewing the top edge. After I sew the seam, I'm going to cut away the excess and then add some fray check. Then we're going to move on to sewing the bottom. Again, afterwards, cutting the excess and finishing with some fray check. Alright, awesome. Off screen, I'm going to flip this inside out and give it a nice press. I also went ahead and pressed the center back seam where the Velcro closure will be. Off screen, I'll go ahead and sew that. Now let's sew up the crotch. It's a little too thick for the machine, so I'm going to have to hand sew this. Cool, let's move on to the sleeves. Now let's connect all 4 sleeve panel pieces to each other. I'm going to sew up each sleeve panel seam, leaving the underarm seam open. Then we're going to hem the top edge and then gather up the bottom edge. Now that that's all gathered, let's attach it to the cuff. I'm just going to sew it to the top edge of the cuff and then press it over. Then we're going to press it again and then sew along the top edge. Off screen, I'll trim off the excess and finish it with some fray check. Next, I'll sew up the underarm seam. Then the sleeve is mostly complete. Now let's go back to the corset. I'm going to embellish the corset with some yellow satin ribbon. I'll glue the ribbon down center front to create a faux placket and then along the leg openings. Off screen I'll create a bunch of little bows to also embellish with. I'll glue 3 down center front to create an shell detail and then add some to the sleeves. Alright, awesome! Let's create the neck ruff using my yellow striped organza. I went ahead and cut a rectangle off screen and finished the edge with some fray check. Now I'm going to gather up the top and glue it to a piece of ribbon. Once the glue dries, I'll cut off the excess organza and then finish the back edge with some fray check. Now let's move on to the sock garters. So here's the pattern piece for the garter. I'm just going to trace it out on some fabric and then cut it out with my peeking shears. Then I'm going to hem the edge with some fabric tack glue. I'm going to apply it to the back and then fold over the edge. Once I do all 3 sides, I'm going to glue some Velcro to the back as a closure. Then I'll glue a piece of ribbon down center front. Alright, cool. Now to continue on with some gluing, I'm going to glue a bow to the top of each ribbon. After that, I'll put the garters onto the leg and then connect them to the socks. I made the socks off screen. If you want to see how I made some socks, check out my first honey video. After I tack each garter to the sock, I'm going to cover the bottom of the ribbon with a bow. Cool, I'm just going to do the other side off screen, and now let's move on to the hat. Let's start off with this piece of cardboard and trace a circle. Then we'll cut a slash and create a cone. As you can see, the hat we're making is a cone hat with a pom-pom at the top and an asymmetrical brim. The cone will be color blocked and the brim will be white. Once I've created the cone, I'm going to cover it with some fabric. I'm going to start out with the polka dot fabric and then move on to the floral fabric. For the floral fabric, I'll fold over the edges where it connects to the polka dot fabric so it has a nice clean edge. After that, I'll make the brim of the hat with some cardboard. Once I'm happy with the shape, I'll cover it with some fabric. I'll start out with the inside of the brim and then do the outside. Off screen, I decided to add some lace to the edge of the brim. Alright, now that the brim is created, let's connect it to the hat. I'm going to shove it together and then glue it. After that, I'll add some ribbon to the brim with some glue. Then I'll also glue a pom-pom to the top of the point. And of course, this doll has a lot of bows on it so far, so let's add some more bows. I'm going to add 4 bows to the ribbon that's on the brim. Off screen, I'll finish off the hat by adding some neckties out of the ribbon. The ribbons will have pom-pom ends. For the wig today, I've prepped the wig cap and painted it yellow. I've also prepped some yarn wefts. I'm using some yarn wefts today because we're doing a pixie cut. I'm just going to start at the back and work my way up. Once the back hairline dries, I'm going to cut and style it with some got-to-be glued hairspray and an eyebrow razor. Today we're going for a Twiggy-esque pixie cut. I'm just going to cut and style it as I go. Halfway through it looks something like this. I'm just going to do the front hairline and keep on going. I'm just going to finish this up off screen. Alright, finally it's time for the face up. We're using the honey faceplate today, and specifically we're using this one with the mark on the face. I thought of a lot of different ways to cover up that mark, but in the end I decided, hey, why not do a clown? Anyway, back to the face up. Using the China White watercolor pencil, I'm going to draw a circle around the face. I'm going to do a very Rocky Horror Picture Show-esque clown face today. After that, we'll use my yellow watercolor pencil and mark out the eyeshadow shape. Then I'll use my Copper Beach watercolor pencil to mark out the eyeliner shape. Then I'll go back to the yellow watercolor pencil and fill in the eyeshadow shape. After that, I'll draw in the upper eyelid with my Copper Beach watercolor pencil. And then fill in the white area with the white. But before I got too far down the face, I decided to stop everything and draw in the waterline with my pink watercolor pencil. And then start using the white watercolor pencil right after that. After I filled in the white area to the best of my ability, I'm going to give it a yellow border with my yellow watercolor pencil. On the next layer, I'm going to fill in the white area with some watered down white acrylic paint. I'm going to have to paint on a few layers to build up the desired opacity. And while I do that, I just say thank you so much for watching, and make sure to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Also make sure to hit that notification bell to stay up to date on all of our latest projects. Also make sure to follow me on Instagram. I now have 3 accounts that you can follow. At The Honey Doll for all honey doll related posts, at Kawaii Dollies for most of my doll work, and at I Could Do That DIY for updates about my videos. After about 4 layers, I was finally happy with the opacity. Next, I moved on to using some yellow acrylic paint to fill in the yellow areas. On the next layer, I use my DEWERT Inktense Ink Black watercolor pencil to fill in the eyeliner shape. I also marked in the upper eyelid. After that, I sprayed a layer of Mr. Super Clear, and the can's running really low, so the layers are looking very shiny. But I'm just going to keep on going and focus on using some acrylic paint. I'm going to use some black acrylic paint to fill in the black areas. After that's all dry, I'm going to use some pink pastels and blush the cheeks and the inner eyes. Cool, she's looking very pretty. Now let's go back to using the black watercolor pencil and draw in those little triangles above and below the eyes. After that, still using the black watercolor pencil, I'll draw in the lower eyelashes. I'm going to make sure that my pencil is very sharp when I'm doing this. After I do one side, I'll do the other side off screen. Next, I'll continue to add some blush to the face. We'll be adding it to the cheeks, the lips, and the ears. So far, I wasn't quite happy with the color of the acrylic paint for the yellow, so I decided to use some yellow spray paint that I used for the shoes. This is a Rust-Oleum spray paint. I'm going to do the same process that I did on the blue honey for the nails. I'm just going to spray it into this little paint tray, and then paint it on. Alright, she's looking pretty good. Now let's finish up her face up with some black pastel. I'm going to contour around the eyes. On the next layer, we'll give her some eyelashes. I'm using some Kiss brand faux eyelashes. Today I'm using the style Flirty. For my smaller dolls, I use Shy because they're not as full. Like usual, I'm just going to measure them and cut them to length. After that, I'll apply glue to the inner edge of the eye and the eyelash. Then I'll plop them on and fuss at them a little bit until I'm happy with the position. I'm going to do both sides and set it aside to dry. After that, I'm going to double stack the outer edge of the eyelash to give it a little bit more wing. I'll be using a different, smaller eyelash. Now that all the eyelashes are on, we can gloss the eyes and the lips. For the eyes, I'll just be glossing the waterline. After I gloss the eyes and the lips, the face is complete. Now let's move on to the eyes. For the eyes, I went ahead and prepped them off screen by painting them white with some Rust-Oleum spray paint. Next, we're going to use black and gray to make the eyes. I want them to look very dead and shark-like, very menacing and kind of scary. I'm going to paint the top black and the bottom gray. I'm going to blend them together with some black pastel off screen. Once I seal that layer with epoxy, I'm going to add some catch lights and a yellow star. The yellow star is a nail charm embellishment thing that I painted yellow. I'm just going to glue it on to hold it in place. Next, I'll use some white acrylic paint to paint on some catch lights. Then I'm going to use more epoxy to dome the eye. And with that, she's complete. I'm just going to assemble her off screen. So here she is, here's the finished result. I'm so happy with how she turned out. She's equal parts creepy and cute. I love all of her little details. There was a lot of work put into her outfit, and yeah, that's why I kind of started there. Let me know if you like me starting with the outfit versus the face up. I'd be interested to know. I'm really happy with the color balance. There is a lot of yellow, but I tried to balance it with white. I also love how the dead eyes turned out. Off screen, I did do her hands and her shoes. I've done both of them in other videos, so if you want to check out how I did those, yeah, go watch the other videos. The hands are a new hand. I did a longer claw-like nail, and yeah, I'm really happy with how this turned out. They're super creepy. I'm really happy with her aesthetic. It's very clown but make it fashion, but creepy and cute. Anyway, this will close out my series for primary colors and the honey faceplate for now. I'll be doing new faceplates and different versions of honey in the future, so keep an eye out. I hope you guys enjoyed the video and love honey as much as I do. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Like I mentioned previously, I'll be doing more versions of honey in the future, as well as other dolls and monster mashups, so keep an eye out for all of my upcoming videos. Thank you so much for watching, and for the rest of the video, just enjoy the amazing photos. Thanks again for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. I'll see you in the next one. Bye!